I've spent a long time ruminating on this more or less, just sort of trying to figure out what exactly do I do this for? Why exactly am I here? Why exactly do I continue to be here? And the answer that always seems to come back to me is YouTube. YouTube is the reason why I'm here. YouTube is the reason why I can continue to get up and do things in my daily life, that and a bunch of uh, psychoactive drugs, but like, you know what I mean. The reason why I continue to be here, the reason why I continue to have motivation to do those things, to do everyday things, is because of YouTube. I wouldn't be here without that, and like, as I've said in my big finale-ish of things, Struggles of an Outlaw 2, this is the reason why I've continued to grow into a better person, and this is the reason why I've continued to be here, is because I just enjoy this medium so much. I enjoy being someone who is a YouTube, who is a content creator, and like, everything about it just does so much for me. The act of editing a video, the act of recording a video, just simply getting up to talk is something that's very therapeutic for me, because I don't tend to like talking to people that much, even though I've, talked to people a lot for quite a while. It's not something that I enjoy that much, just because it's nerve-wracking. Like, the act of going into a Discord call and talking to multiple people makes me very anxious, because I have to perform. And when I'm in front of the camera, I feel less of a need to be a performer. And I know that's rather ironic, given the fact that people are meant to be something you're more eased around, but I'm just not as able to be as comfortable around people as I am around the camera. And so naturally I tend to gravitate the camera as my mode of expression. And so that's where my mindset has been for a while. It's just, I'm so comfortable in this medium that I naturally go to it. And so it's something that's helped me a lot, because it's always been there for me when I felt that nothing else was. Like, before I met the friends that I have on YouTube through YouTube, I more or less just, fucking went to vlog, you know, let's talk about a thing today. Let's talk about what and hoo ha and whatnot. And like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's always been one of those things. Yeah. I think another thing about YouTube that sort of gives me purpose in a way, or just makes consistent things more easy, is the fact that YouTube is a routine. YouTube is something that I wake up every single day, and then I go to my desk, go to my chair right here, and then I sit down, start editing a video, start working on, whatever project I had left off from the day prior, and then I just start working on that. I go to the little editing machine, and then I work. And like, I feel like just having that daily video, that weekly video, having something that I can always come back to, that I can always have an idea for, I can always fall back on, is very good, because it gives me solace. It gives me a consistent thing to look at and say, this is something that I can do. And like, having that timeline there every single time, when I don't want to talk, I can edit. When I don't want to record and talk, I can upload or write or make descriptions or do whatever. There's so many different elements to YouTube that just work in tandem with one another, that depending on my mood, I can do those things. And so it's not just one thing that I'm doing all the time. There's various elements to it that I can do at different times, and all of which have this great routinal quality to them that I can always come back to, that I can always find solace in. And so it's helped me immensely. I think it's a rather odd question asking what life's purpose is, asking why we're here in the first place. In many ways, I think the question itself is futile because all of us are going to die eventually at some point. It may be tomorrow, it may be 80 years from now. You don't know how long you're going to live. You don't know what kind of person you're going to be in the future. You can make judgments about who you're going to be in the future. I think I've made a few educated guesses about where I'm going to be in the future, and based on those educated guesses, my thoughts and actions towards my decision making as to how I plan out my life have changed because I've made those guesses. And like, that's always going to be the case. You're always going to do that, but you're never going to know full well what is going to happen to you. You could get hit by a bus tomorrow. You couldn't predict that. You couldn't make an educated guess. There's not a single self-help book that could have told you you're going to get hit by a bus tomorrow. It's just not going to happen. And so it ends up just being a case of what we do and why we do it have no real intrinsic value. They have no real meaning because even if it has values to others, even when you die, it's not going to mean anything because everyone's going to die. And like, it ends up just being this rat race of how much can I enjoy myself before I burn out? How much can I distract myself from the fact that I'm going to die eventually anyway? What's the point of any of this? There's no point to it. And people say, oh, let you be remembered for your art. That's bullshit. Like, no one's gonna remember you for your art when everyone is gonna die. And so there's no reason to stay here. You might as well kill yourself tomorrow, and you wouldn't be doing anything wrong. Like, there's nothing keeping you from doing that. And in many ways, I think that's a positive thing to do because you don't have to suffer anymore. You don't have to go through daily life feeling terrible. And so I don't think there's any point to this. I don't think there's any reason to be here. The only thing that I can do is just make the most of it and enjoy the time that I have here before I do eventually burn out, and I'm fine with that. I'm perfectly content with that. And so, when I hear that question, when I hear what is my life's purpose, I can't help but just sit there and think, this is silly. The entire existence of this question is silly. But what I can say is that biologically speaking or psychologically speaking, I do think people need some form of purpose. They need to believe that they have something to work for, something to strive for, or else they become unmotivated and they do nothing. And so I found mine. I found what I need to keep me going. That's all people really need when they say purpose, is something to keep them going and to keep them getting out of bed. I have what gets me out of bed. It's right over there.